So ROBS, as you see, stands for Rollover Business Startup. And this is an interesting structure where you essentially have a business that is a C corporation that is owned primarily by a 401k. And so, again, this is very powerful in the sense of yes, you're going to generate profit inside that 401k, or excuse me, inside the C Corp. And I think we hear this, I heard this my entire career, like C Corps are not ideal because you have that double layer of tax, right? You're paying tax at the corporate level, and then when you try and get the profit out to the shareholders, that's got to come out either as salary or as a dividend. And if that C Corp is owned by individuals, then yes, that's two layers of tax. You're paying tax at the corporate level, and you're paying tax at the individual level when you receive that dividend. So that's where the big benefit of the ROBS is that it's owned primarily by the 401k. And the big difference is when that 401k is a Roth 401k, then any distribution or dividend that comes out of the C Corp after that 21% goes into the 401k. And if that's a Roth 401k, then you're not subject to that double layer of tax. It's going back in there tax free. The other thing that's important to mention, we just talked about the limit, right? There's a $72,000 limit that you can contribute directly to a 401k plan. The IRAs we talked about, it's even lower, 7,000. With the ROBS, there is no limit to the amount that can get back in there from that dividend that's made from the C Corp. So your C Corporation earns $1 million of profit. It pays, $210,000 of tax. Now it's got $790,000 of profit. 90, again, assuming the 401k owns 98% of that, 98% of that $790,000 can go back into the 401k, and it's now in there tax free. And you can use that to invest in whatever you want to invest in. So this is a very, very powerful tool. There, again, are significant risk and scrutiny around this. A lot of where we say, Danielle mentioned playing in the gray. A lot of the reason why everything and a lot of the things around ROBS are gray is just because there's not been a lot of tax law or tax cases around this. And so this is one where, there is opportunity, if you will, and if you're willing to take advantage of some of that, I don't know if risk is the right word, but just uncertainty in the fact that there's not a lot of case law around these. But again, there are certain things that you can and can't do. And so again, some of those prohibited transactions that we talked about specifically on the IRAs come into play with the ROBS as well. So you've got to be careful there. But again, this is something that we are very familiar with. We advise clients on this. I had 2 calls just yesterday where we're helping clients walk through getting the ROBS set up. And I think that's the hardest part, right, is the implementation. Once it's set up and it's operating, the business operates very similar to a normal everyday business. Again, you've got to be careful with the prohibited transactions and things. But from the standpoint of generating revenue, deducting expenses, and operating, it operates very similar to a normal business because it's a C corporation. The biggest difference is that it's just owned by primarily the 401k instead of an individual. So that's where we see a lot of clients stumble and get frustrated, is in just the setup piece, because once it's set up and operating, they know how to run the business. But it can be a little bit of a hassle to get it set up. So we have a lot of experience and a lot of expertise helping clients do that.